Right. Maybe we'll make a start because there are a few things that we need to get through. So, hello everybody again. So the last meeting that we had was in Hong Kong 3 years ago. The issues then were about distribution of the roadmap. Has everybody seen the roadmap? So yeah, you have us. Yeah. Right. So it was about distribution of the roadmap. It was about what we were going to do over the next 3 years, basically. So I don't think there's anything on that we're not dealing with today. So we just start off with, what we've been doing recently. So the first thing was that Silvio and I led, and Francine took part in it, in fact, an online spatial equity and inclusiveness workshop with the Architectural Research Centres Consortium for their conference with the European Association of Architectural Education, and that was in May. It's about a month ago. So that's one thing that we did, and I think that was a good event, wasn't it, Francine? Didn't you think that was a good event?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. It was very informative.
And of course, everybody knows that we've completed 2 online and 1 in-person interactive sessions at this Congress on architectural, spatial and infrastructure planning and the 4th Industrial Revolution. And I hope everybody found that worthwhile. I mean, you all took part in that. So I hope that was a good thing to do. We have a contract for an edited book on architectural design and management in the digital age, international perspectives, with Wiley, the publishers, and members of this commission and other academics and practitioners have been invited to contribute chapters. And I think, Silvio, we're starting to get chapters in for that now, aren't we? Yes. I spoke to, Anya. Oh no, because you weren't in the, sorry, I keep forgetting you weren't in the in-person session, but Anya was the student helper for the in-person session yesterday, and she said that her and her fellow authors had completed their chapter. So, we're starting to make progress with that. We supported the University of Hong Kong Early Career Researchers Group, and they were awarded the CIB Sebastian Future Leaders Award in 2021. And future plans include the identification of research topics suitable for funding applications by international teams of publications in special editions of academic journals. I've just been at a CIB meeting, and for years CIB weren't very interested in either journal publications or in helping funding bids, but the new management of CIB are completely different, and they're actually looking for funding sources themselves that people can apply for. So we're very much encouraging individuals and groups to get together for journal publications and for funding bids, both now the possibilities within CIB and outside. And Mike Beam, who's the program director, he was saying that you know, they're starting to get invitations to bid from international teams. The most important thing being that it's international, if not worldwide. That's what they're seeking. Coordinator, succession planning and communications coordinator. I said that I think it was at Tampere, which was when was that, 2016? No, yes, 2016, that I was aiming for Hong Kong 2019 to be my last engagement. But as you can see, nobody's rushed forward to become a coordinator, so I'm still here. But we really do need to start thinking about succession planning, because Silvio and I, we can't like do it forever, can we, Silvio? He's just laughing.
No, of course not.
So we are going to have to think seriously about that. We thought that Francesca Perugia from Curtin University was going to become the communications coordinator, but I had a meeting at Curtin last week and she still hasn't decided, and I think it's a bit indicative that she hasn't turned up to this meeting. So I'm a bit concerned about that and whether we're going to have to seek another communications coordinator. I mean, I'll discuss it with her again, but I think that you know, it's still open, that really. The membership, I still see the schools of architecture as our sort of normal constituency. And I'm still trying to engage with them, though that's not easy. We have a potential, obviously the authors from the book, we have potential that they will become members. We hope that the paper authors, including yourselves, from this conference will become members. And I had a meeting with Martin Hook, who's the Dean of the School of Architecture here at RMIT. And he's also chairs a national group, and he's offered to help in that respect as well. But you know, the more members we have, obviously, the stronger we are. So that is something that we're seeking. I should say, guys, if you want to, well, maybe I'll get to the end of the agenda and then we'll go back and you can give your comments. I produced the roadmap in 2019. It should not be a static document. It should develop. But again, I think I need other people to take it on. We've had discussions about the direction of the commission. Silvio, I'd like you to comment on this, because we had a discussion about whether management is helping us or not, and whether we should be encompassing more urban issues. Could you, Silvio, could you give your views on that?
Yeah. So I was avoiding to talk at the same time because the sound is not good. I think there is 2 microphones in your room. That's the problem. But yeah,
you should have said. It might be.
I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, it's from my laptop. Yeah. Sorry, you should have said. Is that better?
Let's talk. I don't know. Are you hearing me? Fine. Okay, so now it's better. Okay. The question is, I guess that we have a lot of past work concerning management, and the question about this is how people that are participating now are really carrying on the research, and maybe in the future it will change. So for me, I think that we should keep the name, keep it as it is. But I would like to hear about our attendees here in this meeting. What's your opinion about this kind of thing? What is maybe the most attractive, keywords for you when you are seeking for a group trying to participate in a CIB commission? What is it for you? So architecture for sure, architecture for everyone, but city is urban issues. How can we integrate, put this inside our group?
Yeah, but Francine was going to say something.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't target a CIB conference. My supervisor just told me to write an abstract, and I wrote a few. And then another professor said this is a good conference, so then I wrote the papers. I didn't know that we should look at memberships. I didn't know that you need help with research. So this is all brand new to me, but if I'm at that stage in my career where I just say yes to things like this. So if I can tick membership somewhere, I will. And I think the name is great. I think architectural design and management is a very, very good name, personally from my side. But yeah, I don't know how everybody else feels. I just, if I get invited to something, I pitch up. Yeah.
But Francine, can you tell me the name of that professor?
My supervisor is Prof. Almira Osman. She said write abstracts. I wrote abstracts. I didn't really have time for papers. So Jan Egoed, supervisor, when he completed, well, he's already completed his doctorate, said this is an important conference. So then I wrote the papers. So at my time in my studies, where I'm in the last year of my doctorate, I make decisions based on other people's judgment, not my own. If they say go, then I go.
Right.
So we say come, so you come.
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
So, and so I can make a comment. From my own experience, I joined the CIB through the advice of Krishna du Plessis. I think you might know her.
Krishna du Plessis. Oh yes, I know her well. Yes.
You know her well, yeah. And it's got to do with your research interest, I think. So just I'm part of there's a new working group, nature-based solutions for climate resilient buildings, and it's possibly the closest to climate change or climate adaptation at the moment. But I think it's important to get the right skill and the right work group to work together, obviously. So maybe it shouldn't be too open-ended, because then it includes everybody, but then the focus might be difficult. I don't know. I suppose that's part of your thinking in terms of how you've established this work group, is to also have a specific focus in terms of what it does.
Yes, and I think that is. I think that's set out in the research roadmap. But I suppose it comes to trying to find where our natural home is. And for me, our natural home really should be in the schools of architecture, because if we don't do that, then where are we? Because built environment, which is the other option, is such a broad church, and it covers all sorts of other commissions anyway. I don't think we naturally associate with any of those built environment disciplines personally. Anybody else? Or Silvio, you back on or what?
Yes, I guess that we have now a question for me that is innovation, because all the issues that we have now concerns changing, evolution, new technologies, digitization of all the activities. But innovation is something that is operationally speaking, working better than things that you had in the past. So when people talk about technology, sometimes they don't help us to make innovation. So for me, innovation is a key issue now. And I don't know if it is clear enough to other people, but for me, research is going to be so theoretical, so, you know, conceptual sometimes. I see a lot of bibliographical review that is called a systematic literature review sometimes. So there are a lot of work about other people's work. We need to have more of the real thing, the real issues, the real changes. For me, that is the meaning of management. So something that we manage is something that we can make happen. That's the reasoning that I have now for me in my research, and I guess for you maybe is something also that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested, I can tell you where I'm at, because I think I'm probably on a project for life now, which is the future of the city centre, and that you know, that's just about taken over everything that I do, and I think it's likely to for the foreseeable future. Now, that's not to say this commission has to necessarily deal with that, but it's just to let you know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Sure. But we need also to connect to other commissions, other task groups. This is natural.
Yeah,
CIB.
Yeah, can I come to that in a minute, Silvio? Because I think I understand what you're saying, that there is that you know, relationship, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the direction of this commission before moving to how we might relate to others.
Okay, fine.
Hello, Lee Churapeng, can you put your camera on?
Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, I'm using I don't know how to put the camera on. I think it's because I'm not using the team app, so I can see everybody, but unfortunately you can't see me. Yeah.
Okay. We're just discussing the you know, development of the research roadmap and what direction this commission might take, and
Okay.
And I just put forward the notion of whether management is being helpful to us or not, and whether we should be encompassing more urban issues. And
Okay.
everybody was just giving their views on that, really. Some of them didn't realise even that there was a commission and there was a membership involved in it, but so
yeah, I think I need to a minute to understand what is going on. So you can continue, and if I have something to say, I will let you know.
Yes, okay, fine. So what do people think in general about the direction of the commission?
I mean, Maybe
Yeah.
it's, maybe everyone can just talk about your further plans, your further, steps, because maybe that's the the thing that we can integrate into the commission. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
I'll start from my side. It is knowledge management of the architectural process. I'm trying to figure out what should go into a knowledge management framework. What do we need to address in order to regress the climate emergency, or to, weather the storm of the climate emergency? So that's all my research is about, which is the architectural design process. And then my experiment it's based on housing in South Africa, but it could also be based on urban areas. It could be based on retail development, but housing is the easiest one for me to take apart, to do a life cycle analysis on, to automate decisions on. So that is my current research area, and for the next 12 months, those are the only questions I'm trying to answer. So when we spoke the last time, Prof. Bob, those were 3 other papers that I wrote regarding decolonization and the post-apartheid city that dealt with urban. So that's an interest of mine, but not for the next 12 months. For the next 12 months, I'm just trying to finish this doctorate on the architectural design process.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fine.
The
Knowledge management is a real challenge in architecture, but very, very important.
Yeah.
So
but,
congratulations.
But also in the future of the city centre, I mean, obviously one of our chapters is about Pretoria Teshwan, and the post-apartheid city, comes very much to the fore in that. So when you've done your immediate needs, perhaps you could help us out with those, because I say the future of the city centre project will be going on forever, I think, as far as I can tell. So that would be good.
If you need me for anything, I'm available. But also, the knowledge management framework part is based on a study I did for a master's in business leadership, which dealt with automation and artificial intelligence in architectural organizations in South Africa. And what we found, or what I found, was that architectural organizations in South Africa does not practice effective knowledge management. They recreate knowledge constantly, which is extremely costly and time consuming. So that's also an issue. Architectural information is exhaustive, and yet we're not managing it.
Yeah, I mean, they've always been pretty bad at organizational learning. They rely too much on individuals, and when those individuals go, they lose all that knowledge with them.
Yeah. So much knowledge is lost, So maybe this is an issue to consider. Now people are talking about digitization of something that you don't know. Okay, so how to make a digital thing that we can't really say what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're, Francie, you're kind of striding the architectural design process on the one hand, and the urban issues of post-apartheid city on the other hand as well. I mean, it's a bit like me, my background was in architectural design, and then I moved into urban design. So I've always had that kind of dual role as well. But what about others?
So I'm very specialized in building permitting, and especially in the process. And for me, it's the same. So people will want to digitalize the building permit process, but before thinking about the process itself, is it really sufficient right now? Probably not. So we have to rethink the process first, and then maybe we can digitalize. So I totally understand. I totally agree. And also the other aspects, so I think management is a very important thing. So I totally agree on that too. And for me, and on the urban design as well. So I think there are very much relation from building permitting to urban design. And so if so I'm also available for maybe joining a group which is very knowledgeable in the building permitting subjects. And for me, a good reason to join a group is always to have a common publication. So you asked at the very beginning. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add.
Judith, I missed your first sentence. Did you say you're involved in architectural design process? Is that what you said?
Building permitting. I'm just doing research on building permitting.
Right, but also urban design.
Right? Not yet. So I know there's a big relation, but I'm more on the process side, the management research.
Right. Okay. Jan?
My research focus, like I said, is dealing a lot with climate adaptation. At the moment, a lot of my time is spent on collaboration with health sciences, so to relate heat stress with the built environment and then the resultant impacts. And so that's on the one hand, and then we're working in both formal and informal contexts, and hopefully we're busy with bids for sites further up in Africa. So it's on that side. It's my work is very much on documenting existing built environments, whatever those are, and the risk associated with it. So it's a lot less to do with the process of managing the built environment, but learning from the built environment to inform policies in the end. The aim is to see whether we can get it up to policy levels, which I think is something that we architects in South Africa we really struggle with. On the other hand, it's I'm also busy developing projects that look at the digitization, not the digitization, but the monitoring and development of twin models and the live built environment. That connection. It's got to do with the, and Francine, you would know our colleague Dr. Kalei Davey, who's working on the digital twin for Hatfield, the city that we're working in. And so we're taking that further, and my focus is again on the building scale of it, but it's really got to do with modeling processes, and which architects don't often work in. But yeah, so that's the focus at the moment. It's a lot less with the management and implementation of an architectural project or a practice, or the management of that. It's there. My focus is much less in the end.
Okay, so I mean, obviously climate change is a big issue that's affecting absolutely everybody, and I could see that in your paper. Yeah, you know how significant that was. Osa, do you have a view?
Basically, my study is based on should I say digitization? It's about capturing of data. Just like we all know, there are most often people tend to really use adopt manual tape measure. So it's just like we are in an era of or even progressing past BIM now. So trying to get easy access to data without necessary, especially when access and some other factors are involved in this limiting capturing those data. So trying to use what I'm working on basically now is using mobile phones to capture data. I'm working with, for instance, Polycam. So it's kind of a photogrammetry. And these are used to create models, and the models are used to test for building enhancement strategies. So
Do you use drones also? Drones?
Drones, no. I'm just working on mobile phones. One, it's got one, we talk of availability, it's easily available. If we talk of drones, for instance, you see that the even if you use drones, which probably will be more expensive, I would say even if your mobile phone is more expensive, people want to spend more money to get their mobile phone because of different functions compared to getting, but the computation as well. So it's easier for you to just use your mobile to get your necessary details. So it saves you of, if probably you are using a drone, going back to site for the second or third time because you are not capturing enough. But with your mobile, it processes everything on the spot and you can see your model. So from there, when you are going to probably use your simulation or anything, you don't, you already can extract those dimensions immediately from. And yeah, there's the possibility of exporting, also taking the model through to your simulation engine or software package, but which is a bit because of the two material component libraries might not agree, so there might be errors, but at least the good thing is you can extract your dimensions and it just take a couple of minutes. So that is one aspect of it. Then the second aspect is trying to test for improvement strategies. So basically that's what I'm working on.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Jiapang, have you got anything to add?
Yes, for me, because I'm doing architectural design. Also, I'm teaching in a university, studying University of Technology in China, and I think it's kind of completely two different things: teaching and doing architectural design. Because in China, at the moment, facing the students, how to use design strategies is quite important, and how to make the drawing is beautiful is quite important. But in real practice, just like the architectural design and the management is quite important, because we have to work with so many parties, like how to say, civil engineering, like the electronic engineering people. We have to communicate with others. That is kind of how to say, strategy to communicate rather than design. So I think management is more important than architectural design in real practice. And I'm doing green architectural design. I think it's more complicated than normal architectural design, because we have to use so many technologies. We have to think about the material, think about the orientation, think about urban design as well. So it's kind of, how to say, in the university. Yeah, in the university, facing the students it's quite easy actually, because they want higher grade. And facing the market, facing the architectural firms and the government, they want quite efficient building. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Okay, right, thanks. We've been joined here by Patricia and Barbara in the room. So I've just briefly summarised that section. Silvio, could you just do me a favour and turn your mic off unless you're speaking, please, because there's some noise. That's it, great, thanks. So what we just reached the section on the agenda when I was talking about the research roadmap and whether, about the direction of the commission and whether it needed to change direction or whether the roadmap was covering it. So I was just gathering people's views, and please contradict me if I've got this wrong, anybody. But I think basically what you're all saying is that architectural design and management continues to be an appropriate title, and it fits in with what you're all doing, and that your interests are pretty much covered by the roadmap. If there's anything that perhaps needs bringing out a bit more, it might be the aspects of climate change and their effects on the way that we deal with the processes. I think that was the only issue that could be emphasised a little more. Am I correct in that, everybody? Yeah. Okay. So I'll have a look at that to see whether I can just emphasise that a bit more in the roadmap. The next item, and we'll go back on the previous items because I went through those quickly, and you didn't tell me that there were 2 microphones on, so you know. So what, like the rest of CIB, we were very keen to develop the papers where authors wish to do so for journal publications, and we have 4 journals who are particularly interested in our sessions. Those journals are Buildings and Cities, which is a very high quality academic journal with a very demanding editor, I should tell you, and I know this because I've written a paper for him, so I can tell you he's very demanding. There's the second one is actually run by a member of our commission, and he's very keen to, he runs a journal, I think it's totally online, that has quite a number of papers in each edition, and he's very keen to receive some, and his journal's called Architecture, Structures and Construction. I've also been in contact with the editor of Smart and Sustainable Built Environment, and he's keen to receive papers. And Silvio is in contact with Design, Management and Technology. I think that's right, isn't it, Silvio? So there may be other journals, but they are the 4 that have expressed interest. So it's how we manage this process. The Buildings and Cities editor has already expressed interest. I think it's in 3 papers, but you know, because this was our sessions were between us and the Working Commission on Spatial Planning and Infrastructure. It's actually the coordinate. We tried to divide these up between us, which hasn't particularly worked well because one of the coordinators just disappeared, put it politely. So we've got Buildings and Cities where Morten Gard from Spatial Planning and Infrastructure is coordinating with the editor of Buildings and Cities. Silvio's coordinating with the editor of Design, Management and Technology. And I guess just by default that the other 2 are going to fall to me to deal with. So that's where we're at, and so it's how we manage that process, and I'm not quite sure what the best thing to do. I mean, I suppose there's first of all, I suppose we should ask the authors whether they are interested in developing their papers for journals, because as you know, there's quite a difference between a conference paper and a journal paper, so we'll need quite a bit of development. So I think maybe that's the first question. And then the authors that are keen to do it, I don't know what we do. Maybe we send them to those editors, send the papers to those editors, and see which ones they'd be interested in. There are clear, obviously clear focus in each of those journals, which is quite different, I would say. Has anybody any thoughts about any of that? Yeah, Francine?
Sorry, Professor Buttons there. For me personally, I'd love to develop it into a journal. I'd love to add authors if anybody is interested to help. However, I'm not very confident with my paper as is. I would first like an opportunity to just read through these identified 4 journals and just see which one it would tie in best, and maybe ask for a week or 2 to just make small changes before it's spent on, just to make sure that it ties in with the journal.
Yeah, I think when you look at the criteria for the journal papers, you'll see that it is actually quite a bit of development from the conference papers. They tend to be, I can't remember how many words your papers are, but you know, we tend to be looking at 5,000, 6,000 words for most journal papers. Architecture, structures and construction might be slightly different, but generally that's it. Silvio, how many words are the papers for design management technology?
Is not limited as it is for other journals, can be longer, but in general we can talk yes, 6,000 words. Yeah,
I think that's a normal kind of amount.
Yeah, but it's not the main criteria. The question is yes.
No, but just to give them an idea, you know, the fact that it's going to be bigger probably than the conference paper, and certain things will need to be more explicit. You know, there'll need to be very clear research methodology. There'll need to be very clear findings. There'll be very clear contribution to knowledge. You know, all those sorts of issues need putting out in the journal papers.
Exactly.
But I think that's a good idea, Francie. Did everybody get the titles of those 4 journals? Did you all write them down? Because I think what Francis says is right. I think that you should look at some papers from each of them and see where you think yours would fit in best. They'll all be, having said that, they'll all be special issues. And I'm not sure I know yet what the titles of the special issues for each of the journals will be, but they will be special issues. But I think if you start, I mean, regardless of whether it's a special issue or not, if you get a feeling for the kinds of papers that those journals are accepting, then, you know, you probably be closer to fitting in with them. So I think that's a good idea, Francine. I think we should let people, you know, have a bit of time, a week or 2 for making those decisions, and then see. Yeah, sorry, Jan.
In terms of communicating those special issues, has there been any indication on when that will be communicated, or it doesn't flow out of this conference now? Am I correct?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say again?
Sorry, my connection is poor, I assume. In terms of communicating those special issues, or the call for the submissions to the special issues, is there any indication in terms of when that might take place? And I assume that it's not a direct relation to the conference and the special issues.
Yes. Yeah, no, sorry, there is a direct relationship. The communication with the editors was about this conference. So the special issues will come out the conference, and the journals will have papers from other sessions and other commissions as well. So it won't be exclusively from ours. So,
Prof, if we could have a timeline of that, to not be caught you know, so that we could know if it's in 2 months that special editions are coming out, so that we start working today, because a journal is a lot of work.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I guess we can coordinate these editors to make you know, general guidance to send to our members and the other people that are interested, that participate in this group or these sessions, to just in order to clarify, to make it more clear.
Can I say as well? We've organized last week at Western Sydney University a workshop around when social sciences meets lean and beam towards Industry 5.0. And myself, Carlos Formoso, and Mike Agioglu, we are editing a special edition of the Architecture, Engineering and Design Management journal, which is titled, what did we call it? Just bear with me, I have to read, and I have no glasses, sorry. So we call it Enabling Construction 5.0 through Lean Design and Digitalization. Okay, so
it's Architecture, Engineering and Design
Management. Okay, and it is Enabling Construction 5.0 through Lean Design and Digitalization. The deadlines for submission of papers is December this year, beginning of December. So if you have any interest, of course, get in touch with me. I've put that onto my LinkedIn, and it is also published on the journal webpage. So anything to do with digitalization in architectural management, of course, is more than welcome.
Okay, good. I think with the other journals, I think probably I need to write to the editors and say, or Silvio can write to the editor in the case of design management technology.
Yeah.
No, actually, I'll rephrase that. I'll write to the editor of Architectural Structures and Construction and Smart and Sustainable Built Environment. I'll ask Morton to write to the editor of Buildings and Cities, and Silvio for the editor of Design Management Technology, and just say to them that there is interest in publishing in the journals. We are giving our contributors 2 weeks to consider where they think their papers would be best placed, and then we'll be in contact with them again after that, and then we'll be seeking the timescales. But I wouldn't worry about timescale, Francine. The lead times in these are really quite extensive. They're not going to ask, for next week or even next month. I don't think. They'll give you sufficient time because thereafter they're not interested in papers that are not well conceived. That's no use to them at all. If you try and do it quickly, it would not be well conceived. So they're looking for something which is high quality. Well, you know what journals are like. They're all seeking high quality papers. So I think that's probably the best way that we can handle that.
For sure.
Anything else on journals before we move on?
Just make a comment. It's unlikely there will be a special edition just with the one paper or two. So I think for
no, they've all said that there'll be several sessions, several commissions involved in their special issue. They've all said that. Yeah. But they've asked us to contribute some to them. Yeah. I mean, especially I was saying, Architecture, Structures and Construction tends to have quite a lot of papers in one issue. Anything else on that? No. Interaction with other commissions. I mean, the most obvious one and the one we have been dealing with is W101, which is Spatial Planning and Infrastructure. And I'm a member of that commission, and my view is that we should continue to interact with them. I don't know if anybody's had a chance. I mean, I set out some of the commissions in the roadmap who we have a natural alliance with. I don't know if anybody considers any other particular commissions that we should be approaching. Yeah.
I see you noted the Working Group 116, Smart and Sustainable Built Environment. It feels to me a lot of what we discussed ends up really aligning with their thinking as well.
Right.
But I assume that is already part of the thinking here.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, they're the ones I've listed are more kind of potential. The only one so far that we've really engaged with is 101, but we can engage with others if people think we should be doing so.
I know that Krishna is part of that group, so I can also engage with her and discuss it with her in terms of engagement and what an easy connection.
Yeah. So 116 is a suggestion. Any others? Are they? Yeah, and can I ask you, are they dealing specifically with climate change?
Often, yeah, it's quite broad. It's climate change, regenerative thinking, and then also resilience to a degree. But I think it all falls under this idea of sustainability and the technology relation. But it's from what I've seen in the sessions I've attended, yeah, it's quite a range of aspects. It's not as much about the management of the design process or the implementation process. It's really more about the product in the end.
Yeah, yeah, but the idea is that we associate with commissions which we have some kind of synergy, but are not repeating what we do. Obviously, you know, it's about having synergy with them. Is Krishna a coordinator of that? Cheers.
I have to check. It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to, if she is, it's easy to deal with her because, you know, you and I both know her well, you know, so that won't be a problem. Any other commissions anybody thinks that we should be approaching? No. I don't know if is there one on housing? Is there a commission on housing?
Problem is that there's one on housing, there's one that used to be on clients and the construction, so all those. The trouble is that I think we got to a point, and in a way I wanted to ask this for us as well collectively, that there's quite a lot of working groups which are rather small. Okay, commissions are, you know, very, very small. And I don't know if we didn't reach a point in which it should be maybe reshuffling the cards a little bit, you know, and looking at what it is that we want to get out of the commission, and you know, maybe merging commissions might be one way forward. You know?
I mean, I don't know what Morton's plan is for 101, but my impression is that they're pretty small. I'm going to their meeting tomorrow, and it decrossed my mind whether we ought to be having a closer alliance with them, or maybe merging with them.
There's no much point in having 5 people in one working commission, another 10 in another. You know, I think the whole idea is to actually ensure that we have a certain level of, you know,
of a smaller number of commissions with
more people in them, you know, and of course, and things have changed over time as well, and sometimes we stick to the titles, but I just feel that overall we need to be considering that, really.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I said, for instance, the commission in the clients used to be really, really active, but now I don't even know.
I don't know. No, they were one of the ones that we used to associate with, but they're not even here, are they? So, David Boyd from Birmingham, we used to associate with, you know, but I don't know what's happened to them.
I think we need to
a bit of a review of the commissions anyway.
I think so. I really feel we need to. And that's why, in a way, what we need to maybe try and look at is thematic areas. And as Jan, you're saying about sustainability, of course, that's a thematic area that's going to cut across everything we do. But, you know, maybe we need to just be a bit more strategic in terms of, okay, where do we see this issue of supporting better quality design, say, moving forward, you know, and trying to take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, the difficulty with, you know, it's a bit what, you know, Don was saying in the last meeting, you know, is that the certain words mean different things to different people. And design is one of the most ambiguous words that there is, you know. Okay, so if nobody's got any other suggestions, we'll leave it at that, and we'll take on board what Patricia is saying about maybe there'll be a review of commissions anyway. Okay, so I'll just go back to the beginning as Patricia and Barbara have joined us, and you guys couldn't hear all that well anyway. So I'll just go back to the report on what we've been doing recently. And, you know, Silvio and I led this online workshop on spatial equity and inclusiveness, which Francine made a very valuable contribution to. And that was with the Architectural Research Centres Consortium for their conference with the European Association of Architectural Education. That was last month, May. At this conference, we've completed 2 online and 1 in-person interactive sessions rather than the traditional paper delivery. And I think everybody enjoyed that approach. Yes. Judith just looking blankly at me, but I think Judith enjoyed it. And I was,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, Bob, the only thing is that we lost half an hour maybe in the first session. That would be great to use, but due to technical issues, maybe we could not discuss all the contributions, but it was great anyway.
yeah, it was a bit tricky at the beginning. Sorry, Jan.
What I really enjoyed is that one read through the papers, and maybe it was just me that did that, but I ended up making notes for suggestions, which I thought one should share, and I wondered whether the others did it, and maybe that's a way of helping us to complete our papers, is getting feedback. It's like a prelim reviewer. That would have maybe, I don't know if there's ways to get that information from others, but maybe I should contact some of you and ask for some advice from that. That could be a way to
I think that'd be really nice, Jan, because one of the things I felt about conferences for many years is that they've tended to be the end of a process rather than the beginning of it. People have written papers, they've done their presentations, and they've all gone away and never thought of it again. And that's partly why I was very keen on developing the papers for journals, because that was part of the ongoing process. It was why I was very keen to have a discussion rather than presentations, because that's part of the ongoing process. And I think exactly what you say about, you know, getting together with others after the conference and saying, well, you know, how could we develop this further? I just think it's so important. So if others are up for that, I think that's a brilliant suggestion.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you need to be prepared to accept the criticism of the colleagues, because, you know, yeah. So this is the idea, is to improve. So criticism is necessary to improve.
I'm sure it'd be done in a very kind way.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike, I do have to say, reviewers of journal papers who are not so kind, but I'm sure our group would be very kind.
No, of course, they are not kind. We are kind. They are not.
As I mentioned before, we have a contract for an edited book on architectural design and management in the digital age, international perspectives, with Wiley. And members of the commission and other academics and practitioners have been invited to contribute chapters, and we're starting to receive some of those chapters already. The objective is to submit it in December, but whether we achieve that or not, I don't know. I've just completed a book on the future of the city centre, and I do have to say, getting chapters out of people was like drawing teeth. It was, you know, really, really hard work. So we'll see what happens with this book. You know, they are inevitably late because people keep asking for extensions, but we'll see what we can do with it anyway. We supported the University of Hong Kong Early Career Researchers Group, and they were awarded the CIB Sebastian Future Leaders Award, which I was delighted about. And future plans are to identify research topics suitable for funding applications by international teams, and what we've already discussed, which is publication in special editions of academic journals. And I mentioned previously the importance of international worldwide teams in these funding applications, and CIB is being very proactive in that. They are seeking funding sources, and Mike Beam is being approached by funders who are requesting teams to be put together and applications for funding to be made. So please keep an eye on the CIB information on all of that, which I'm sure he'll put on the website to circulate and so on. The coordinator's succession planning and communications coordinator, I said before, is that Silvio and I can't carry on doing this forever, and I've already tried to retire about 2 or 3 times and failed, so I'm still doing it. But we will need to really consider about future coordinators, and whether that will be a part of the review of the commissions. It may be, but I'll keep doing it until somebody else is found. But I just hope it's relatively soon. The communications coordinator, we approached Francesca Perugia from Curtin, and I thought she was going to agree to do it, but I was in a meeting with them last week, and she's still not really decided whether she wants to or not. And as I said earlier, the fact she's not in this meeting might be an indicator. But we will need a communications coordinator, and preferably an early career researcher. The membership, I'm still approaching schools of architecture, which I see as our natural consistency, and with mixed responses. I was pleased that some of them were willing to engage with the book. I think that some of you were not clear that commissions have membership. I think that it's a great shame that the website didn't prioritize the commissions and membership of the commissions in the early stages of the website. I think they dealt with other things that could have been further down the line, and I think the membership, should have been the #1 item, but it didn't happen. I promised it's going to happen, but we just don't know when. Hoping that the paper authors from this Congress will join. I hope that your universities are all members. That's something I didn't really think about, but so where you from? Pretoria? You're obviously a member of Pretoria. Francine, is your university a member?
I think TUT is. I think Prof. Almira Osman is as well. I'm not sure about the University of the Witwatersrand. That's the other school of architecture that I'm involved with. I checked, and my papers are the only ones affiliated to them, so I don't know.
Right.
It doesn't seem so.
Right. Well, maybe if you could check if your universities are members, and if they're not, encourage them to become members. One of the things that was mentioned by the incoming president is that part of his trying to gain funding is that he's looking to reduce the fee that universities have to pay to be members of CIB by getting in more external funding. which I think would be really good, because, you know, I've had to go through the argument every year with our university as to why they should spend money on CIB. And it's not just CIB, they do that for every expenditure. And like all universities, they're trying to reduce their expenditure. So that's why you have to argue the case every year. And I had a meeting with Martin Hook, who's the Dean of Architecture at RMIT, and also the chair of it's not the Schools of Architecture Committee for Australia, it's at a different level, he was telling me, but he's promised to promote us with them as well. So I think those were the other outstanding issues. Anything else anybody would like to raise? No? Anything from the room?
No, thank you.
Well, I think in that case, Silvio, we'll draw it to a close, shall we?
Yeah, so it's okay for me. Here is 2 a.m. Maybe 3 o'clock. I will try to have some sleep. So
yeah, good idea.
Yeah, but yes, I guess we are in the right way to the improvement of CIB activities, CIB commissions, to have more dynamic, whole of CIB, mainly in the field of architecture, but because architecture is not really, committed with CIB work, so we need to improve it, and I guess we are really doing a big effort to make people understand that it's a good idea to join CIB now. Is another approach is very improved than it was in the past, and I am a optimistic guy about the future.
Yeah, thanks. I just a couple of things to say that at the meeting that I've just had with the CIB management, I gained the impression that they are very keen to engage with architecture, and it's finding a route through to doing it and how to bring the schools of architecture on board. The other thing I would say is that this would have been a much bigger meeting had not nearly everybody who was online, apart from you guys, from yesterday. It's the middle of the night or very, very early morning for all of them. They just started laughing when I said, well, you could come to the meeting if you wanted, So that's why they're not here. And the number of people who were in person yesterday are now giving papers somewhere else, apparently. So that's why we're a bit depleted today. But it's quality more than quantity, I always think. So I'm glad you guys are here. Okay, so thanks very much, and I hope to see you all again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope to